Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Missy and I write the blog ramblingrosefarmhouse.com, and I'm really glad that you're here today. Today I'm going to make a pumpkin muffin, but it's a little bit different than your normal pumpkin muffin because it's not made with flour. It's made with just a few simple ingredients. It's super easy to make. It tastes really good, and if you don't tell people, they won't even know that there's no flour in there. But it's a really good alternative for people that can't have wheat for one reason or another. It's just a really delicious muffin, and you can make it sugar-free, so I'm going to tell you how to do that too as we go along. But like I said, it's easy to make and it tastes really good. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using almond butter, and you can use one like this, just that comes from the grocery store right in the area where the peanut butter is. You can also use the ones that you can get where you grind the almonds and buy it fresh, but that's not an option for me right now, so this is what I have. Now, I don't know if you can see this one, how the oil has separated from it. So if you have one, and they always separate, you need to make sure that you get that mixed up really, really well before you start. You don't want to use it like this, because if you get too much oil, it's going to make your recipe be too liquidy, and if you don't get enough oil, you just get the almond butter out the bottom, it's going to make it be really dry. So go ahead and spend some time, get it mixed up really well, and then you'll be ready to go. Yep, so this is what it should look like when it's all mixed up really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I am going to be using, this is a half of a cup of almond butter. Put that in here. And then I have a half of a cup of pumpkin puree, and this can either be fresh or canned, whatever you have. All right, a teaspoon of vanilla. And I just mix my liquid ingredients first, and then I mix my dry in that. And then I have a third of a cup of honey. And if you wanted to make this sugar-free, what I would tell you to do, see if I can get the rest of this honey out of here. Okay, so if you wanted to make this sugar-free, what I usually use is a sweetener like this pure sweetener, and I use 2 tablespoons of this if I'm making the recipe sugar-free. Leave the honey out, use the other sweetener. And then you have a low-carb and sugar-free muffin. 2 eggs are next. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this up really well. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle my dry ingredients over the top, and here I have a half of a teaspoon of baking soda, a half of a teaspoon of baking powder, and a fourth of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to sprinkle this over the top. And now I'm going to mix that in. Also at this point, if you want your muffins to taste like pumpkin, a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice is what you would use. I'm going to leave it out because I'm actually making this bunch for my boys, and they like it better without the pumpkin taste to it. If you don't put the pumpkin spice in, you really can't even tell that it has pumpkin in it. It just kind of mixes with the almond milk, and it just has a more neutral flavor. But if you like the really pumpkin taste, then go ahead and use a teaspoon of the pumpkin spice. And the other thing that I'm going to add here, got this all mixed up, I'm going to make these into chocolate chip. I'm going to make these into chocolate chip pumpkin muffins. So I'm going to use a third of a cup of the little tiny mini chocolate chips because I'm also using a mini muffin tin. And so you can use the bigger chocolate chips. And if you were making this sugar-free, I would recommend getting like one of the chocolate chips that are made with stevia instead of sugar, and then you have a sugar-free muffin. But like I said, I'm making this for my teen boys, so I'm using regular mini chocolate chips. And I'm leaving the pumpkin spice out because they will appreciate that better. But they're really good with the pumpkin spice. So you might want to try that if you like the pumpkin taste. All right, so it's all mixed up. And like I said, look how fast that went together. They're really quick and easy. And I'm going to go ahead and get my little cookie pan, my muffin pan out here. And I know it looks pretty rough. We use this pan multiple times a week. Like, we make a lot of muffins. And I love this size. So this is smaller, than a regular size muffin, but it's bigger than the really little tiny muffins. So I would say this was like, instead of bite size, this is maybe a 2 bite size pan, unless you're a teen boy, and then it takes 2 of these to make 1 bite. So anyway, I really like this size. This is my favorite size of muffins to make, especially for breakfast, when we're doing muffins for breakfast, which is pretty often. So I'm going to go ahead and give my pan a spray. And I'm going to have to grab a smaller spoon real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this muffin tin up. Can I just use a big tablespoon to do that? All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes, and I will show you what they look like when they come out. So here they are straight out of the oven. And so these cooked for 15 minutes on 325 in my oven because I have a convection oven, but it would be 350 if you have a standard oven. And I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the pan and see what they look like. Okay, here they are. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you hit the little bell, you'll be notified when I make a new video. And I will be having a low-carb playlist on my channel, but I'll also be doing a whole lot of just good old-fashioned country cooking. So I hope to see you back again next week.